Plaintiff James Beavers started dating the defendant after they met on a phone dating line, and they eventually got married. James claims while he was working, the defendant cheated on him with other women, and he's suing her today for the balance due on a loan. Defendant Lystra Beavers admits that she cheated on James, but insists he did some cheating as well.
Let's start with you.
Well, sir, I met the defendant Lystra here back in 2007. Phone dating site, just imagine one of those things, 2 in the morning, you can't sleep at TV, call local singles. We actually ended up hitting it off. I was on my way up to...
What'd you talk about?
Phone dating site, local number, meet local singles.
No. When you got on the phone 2 a.m.
No, I had a...
You asked what you wearing?
I had a voicemail box set up. I was actually on my way up to Alaska. I worked as a commercial fisherman at the time, and she left a message, and I responded back to the message, and that's kind of how it worked. We chatted.
No. You said you had a conversation.
We had a conversation.
That's what I want to hear. What did you all talk about?
Well, she left me a message. I responded back.
When you talk, did you all ever talk?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When we first started talking, it was just like, I was in Seattle at the time. She was asking about the weather, the conditions, what I did for a living. Just throughout the 6 months that I was working on a boat, it was just, we had conversations. We got to know each other.
Okay, there you go. Just got to know each other with general conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I just want to know, because they was talking about you all asked what each other was wearing when you got on the phone.
No, actually, it didn't go that way.
That's
for quite
the other one, right?
Yeah.
That's not the same thing. Go ahead.
So, you know, we talked for about 6 months, and I came home, and...
what are you wearing? What are you...
I got home, and me and the defendant, we met.
Are you alone? All right, so what happened again, sir?
Who's there with you?
Right. See, you know the routine. So 6 months, you all talked back and forth.
We talked back and forth, and I finally ended my contract up on the boat. Came home, and we met. We dated for some time, and throughout the time we dated, we eventually started talking about marriage. She was more adamant about it than I was. I was a little hesitant from my first experience. So, you know, through talking about it, I'm like, yeah, sure.
She said, let's get married?
I mean, based on her religious background and everything, you know, it was the appropriate thing to do. I was hesitant. I really didn't want to get into it.
But she mentioned, let's get married? Or she presented the expectation?
We talked about it, and she's like, you know, if this is going to go anywhere else, we're going to end up getting married. We have to.
Gotcha.
I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, all right. So,
when did you all marry?
Married January of '09.
All right, 2 years you dated? All right, that's reasonable.
Yeah, we had a decent relationship for 2 years dating, and then, you know, we ended up getting married.
Those type of marriages usually last. What happened?
Well,
date 2 years, you know everything you need to know. You can't hide a crack habit that long.
Well, yeah, I mean, in 6 months of just phone conversations, we learned quite a bit in the 6 months.
Yeah.
But what happened was we just kind of grew distant. I started working quite a bit. I was working 18 hours a day, 16, 18 hours a day between 2 jobs. Then my job took me up to a new city. She followed. And when we got up there, not only was I working, she didn't have any friends or family. And in that time, she came to me and she reached out and she's like, hey, do you mind if I start trying to meet other people? You know, just...
making friends.
Yeah, just get out of the house, you know. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. One night I got suspicious, started going through her text messages, and seeing that she's been talking to a couple of people, and one went a little further than just chatting.
Guys?
Women.
Okay.
And, you know, which I wasn't upset about. I really wasn't upset about.
You was mad because she cut you out.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm like,
he said, if you're going to talk to other women, if you're going to be involved with other women, at least invite me in.
I told her, I'm like, I may be working 18 hours, but I'll call in sick one day. Come on, just help a guy. But, you know, I was upset about it. I confronted her. She denied it at first until I pointed out the text. And she confessed about it, you know, and that, it hurt. It did, because, you know, when we got married, I ended up getting a tattoo of, you know, my wedding band. And, you know, through it all, You know, her family, they disowned her after she married me. They hated me to begin with, but
Why?
they just, because I'm white. And I mean, just flat out, her family didn't like the idea
Black
of,
folks hating you because you white.
Yeah,
you got
they-
a lot of nerve.
You believe that?
Go ahead.
you know,
I hate somebody because
my
of their
family,
color.
my family actually loved her. I mean, my mom and dad, they absolutely loved her, but it didn't work out. Throughout that time, I'll
What
be
finally
honest,
happened? What was the final straw?
the final straw was I couldn't get over it.
All right, gotcha, ma'am. Let me hear from you.
Well, Your Honor, just some of what he said was pretty true. He did some cheating on his own too.
That was after you cheated.
No.
What year did he cheat?
To my knowledge, which he actually had told me just a couple of months, well, about a month or so ago, it was literally when we first met.
Okay.
Right after we met.
Inside the
Quiet, not while you were married.
Okay.
All right.
So he just started everything on kind of like on his own.
Okay.
And
Anything
pretty much
else?
everything else was kind of true.
All right, no problem.
But inside the marriage, I never stepped out of inside the marriage until
Okay.
after she.
You were bored and you couldn't find anything productive you might have wanted to do, or?
I was getting ready to go to school.
Okay, what happened?
I was making plans to go to school while we were out at, where we lived at. I just getting a job.
Okay. Why didn't you get a
Look for
couple
a job.
dogs or something to take care of?
We had dogs.
3.
We had
That
dogs.
wasn't enough to keep you occupied?
Yeah, because I was taking care of the entire household on my own
You just
while
had
he
the
was
itch
gone.
that you had to
It wasn't even
deal
like
with.
that, sir.
Okay,
It
all right,
wasn't-
something happened.
no.
All right, sir, let's talk about the loan you're suing for.
Well, an opportunity presented.
You all still married?
We're in the process of divorcing.
In the process, but
Yes.
you're still married.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The marriage finally came to a break in October of 12. I discussed it with her before October. I was looking at an opportunity to move up to Anchorage. I got an opportunity to move up there. She called me up in January, late January, and she's like, she's behind on some bills. I've been up in Alaska for several months. I'm like, I can help you out. I'll be home in a few weeks. And when I came home, I gave her the money, and
How much? 5,000.
I gave
Now,
her
was she
$7,500.
working?
I gave her $7,500.
Okay. Was she working?
She was working as a home health aide,
All right.
and
Making very little money.
she was making $8, $9 an hour. I mean,
And how much hour did you make?
I made $43,000 a year. I was salary.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Your Honor, when
You all still married. Let's just keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
when he moved, when we were supposed to move, that's what it was. We were supposed to move together. I had to stay back to take care of some things in the house, and we still had dogs, so I needed to get the dogs to
You
where
had
we're
a
supposed
few
to.
other things to take care of.
All
and
right,
stuff.
folks, that's
Anyway.
it. Joint assets. That was her money and your money. She can't borrow from herself. Joint assets, you're still married. Tell this to the divorce court judge, and he'll determine who gets what. Have a good day. Your case is dismissed.
Well, I mean, we've been separated, and I've just been waiting to file for divorce, and
I'm ready to get this done and
Yeah,
over with. I want to go back
I-
home and take care of my own business.
I'm done. It's over. It's out.
He started an entire relationship without even letting me know.
Whatever.
I got an email saying that we were done. So
You know, I'm done with it.
I don't want to hear it.
Wish you the best.